Hello guys, welcome back to the Quick and Dirty tournament where I face Svin, Fourierrr and Yaba. Or whsvin, I think we can call him Svin for the ease of it. Who is actually the third top player, top 3 player in the Glico rating. He's on the 3rd rank, so that's quite impressive. All of us, Fourierrr, Yaba and me, are somewhat similar. I think I'm like rank 20, rank 30, rank 40 or something like that. And yeah, as a quick reminder, this is Quick and Dirty, a little more fast-paced game, and this is the second stage. The first 2 places proceed to the next stage. So the winner and the second place proceed, 3rd and 4th are eliminated. It changes the matter of the game a bit. Just to keep that in mind. Okay, Sven starts in the first position and takes EG here. Good choice. We can take a quick look at the leaders and wonders. We have a Hollywood, there is a Marlene Dietrich. There are some culture synergies here. Shakespeare is here. And some military leaders like Catherine. Robespierre also gives a red cube. Chichka is in H1. There is a Suez Canal. No Colossus. Yeah. It's a good mix, as always. 4-player. I can't read too much information out of this. I think maybe the most important things are Suez and Dietrich for me at the first glance in a 4-player game. Okay. Sven starts with the EG, then Fourierrr proceeds with taking the Roman roads, could also take Ashoka and the yellow card. Probably a close call. There's no other wonders in the row, and I agree actually with this Roman roads. It's a pretty solid wonder. It's really up there with the best wonders in my opinion, and there's no other wonder in the row. And yeah, there's good H1 wonders, but maybe not the best lineup to skip HA wonder. Obviously, the other wonders can also drop still, but this is the one in the row, and he will get the leader in his second turn. So I am not the biggest fan of Colosseum, so I just go for Ashoka and 2 yellows. I think that's also a good start. Ashoka is pretty decent if you can make him work. Yaba does take the Colosseum and the Sun Tzu. Who is quite good with the Colosseum, I would say, and especially when the Suez Canal is in the game. I think the value of Sun Tzu, some players like Martin Pescher value him quite highly. I don't value him that highly, but he's certainly not bad. Especially in a 4-player game, but maybe actually in any player count. Maybe not that much in 2-player, yeah, but in a 4-player game, and especially with the Suez Canal in the game, it's evident that he has high value. Maybe you prefer him in the first positions, but also not unhappy to have him in the last positions, I guess. Sven takes Homer. Interestingly, maybe somewhat, but yeah, relatable. Cleopatra. It's not the best Cleopatra game, and if it's not the best Cleopatra game, her value is a little underwhelming. So the Homer effect is decent. The happy face that he will get at some point, and maybe 1 or 2 rocks for military. It's not bad. So he does select him, is just a conservative turn, being civil action efficient. Boudica, we see here, even over Clio with the Roman roads, yeah. Maybe here I would consider Clio and just rush the Roman roads, but it's close, it's close. I go for the 3rd bronze, yeah, also very standard turn. Maybe I can consider some things here, but not really. I don't really want to take this Acropolis for 2 civil actions, so I think this turn doesn't have really big alternatives, and the urban growth over Richland is clear since I still have to build that philosophy. There's no card we want to take spend 3 civil actions on. Yaba goes also for the standard turn and takes cultural heritage. And here we see a somewhat interesting decision, I think. He spends 3 civil actions for the Universitas, while there is pyramids for 2 civil actions available. Yeah, but it's only 1 civil action different, and it's an H tier difference between those wonders, and Universitas first is especially one of the H1 wonders you especially want to have as your first wonder. It's not that bad till later on if you lose it to Ravages. There's definitely worse wonders considering that Ravages of Time. Yeah, agreed. That makes a lot of sense. And starts building it. Yeah, also agreed. I guess he's able to finish it in a lot of cases next turn, considering the developments. 1 rock is very likely to be revealed until then, I think. And even if not, it's not such a huge loss. He makes up for the science very quickly. And like this, he's also more flexible to maybe go for printing press. There's a Shakespeare. And even if that is not that common in 4-player, it's still an option. And maybe he's also well prepared to build the second, just play Gutenberg here and be very efficient considering building just philosophies, alchemies, not even printing press. Yeah, he's just more flexible like this. I like it. Fourierrr goes, seeds an event, opens development of settlement and builds a lab and takes Code of Law for 3. Yeah. Could also consider maybe Gutenberg. Yeah, but if no one gets stronger, and yeah, there's some options. He is already stronger. If no one else gets stronger, he can just develop the Code of Law next turn with Boudica. So yeah. Some of these times the Code of Law for 3 is also correct even in 4 players, and I think it is here. Development of Warfare is revealed, which I think means he won't be able to use Boudica for science unless I'm actually not that certain in which order that's evaluated. We will see. I do take Da Vinci in hand. It's a color. It's overall a solid leader. There is no alchemy yet, but I think it's justifiable. Could also consider Gutenberg. I take Da Vinci here. Because I also just built a philosophy first. Maybe for the same reasons actually. So I can maybe build an alchemy instantly if it drops. I could also enable Da Vinci with the printing press. That is something I would do. So yeah, and between those two, Gutenberg could also work, but it's just 1 civil action. I pay more. So I don't think he's that much better than Da Vinci here. Yaba reveals the development of markets, which means that Svin can finish his wonder and plays the fighting man tactic, goes for the philosophy and a breakthrough for 2. Yeah, breakthrough is a good card. There is no science tax yet, so science is somewhat scarce here. You could also consider maybe drama. Gutenberg. I'm just a fan of Gutenberg, so could consider him, but the breakthrough for 2 totally understandable here. It's a good card. Yeah, Sven does finish the wonder and he takes Gutenberg in hand and warfare. So this Gutenberg will work a lot. Fourierrr. How does it work? Yeah, okay. he gets the warrior, then he can choose. So he is allowed to take the signs and develop the Code of Laws. And just finishes the Roman road. Yeah, that's clean. No cards here worth not finishing that and taking corruption or having to populate a bunch or something. I will also, my gut feeling says that's correct. Civil development of agriculture revealed. I did seed something, as always. I have no idea. Finish the pyramids. And since sadly there's really still not a single science tech, I kind of have to build a philosophy by now. Take the warfare in hand, but I can play a really solid leader here with 3 colors. So 1 food and 1 rock. That's a good deal. Warfare and urban growth in hand. I have border conflict in hand already. I have had it in hand already, and I draw rebellion and inhabited. And next turn, if I see it, maybe we can remember what. Open borders between Yaba and Fourierrr. Yeah, it's a bit brave maybe by Fourierrr to do it with the Sun Tzu Colosseum, but it's just sadly there's not enough. I think there's actually just no scenario where you don't agree with this border, open borders. If only to just cancel it then. So yeah, sadly not a good, well-designed card. With some tweaks, it could be, but like this, sadly not. Yaba goes for knights, bread and circus. Sets up to be potentially very strong towards the end of H1. Development of trade routes is revealed by whsvin, and he goes for Gutenberg. He builds a philosophy. There's still only this printing press, but that's not a huge problem. Next turn, it is super likely that he can pick something from 2 here, and then Gutenberg continues to work. And even if you just skip 1 turn, it's not that bad. If you make him work like 3, 4, 5 times, then his value is insane. We see another warrior that was still with the Homer bonus, so very cheap. Fourierrr goes also for another warrior. Has the bonus rocks from Boudica available, so that's more or less free in that sense, in the rock sense. Iron for 2. Very understandable. We seed, and obviously I forgot what I had. It's already a minute ago. You can't fucking hold me accountable for that. I seeded something, and development of civil life is revealed. Swordsman, we see Swordsman here. We see the Great Wall here. And I built a Swordsman. Now that is something I don't probably usually do. But I think I have a lot of rocks already. And it's a game where you want to finish first or second. So yeah, it's actually a difficult decision. I think the Great Wall is very good in 4-player games in general, and maybe it's even more good if you just need to be second place, and then it might be correct to just skip the iron for that. Another problem maybe with the iron is my somewhat low science. I still want to go for alchemy. It's maybe a close call, but I think this is very fine actually. The Great Wall into Swordsman, and this I can build it very soon. I have 4+4 rocks thanks to Ashoka, and I could actually develop something and just finish it if I wanted next turn with the Da Vinci rock. So yeah, we will see. Also, I just saw the H flipped. the military deck flipped. The event deck is the name. The event deck, and I would go from weakest to strongest with this. So there's also this improved fighting band. If he doesn't go for a knight tactic, it does look like he wants to switch to a knight tactic, but still that's just an option that it stays there, and then this is insane setup. Insanely safe, but also a bit aggression potential with the warfare in hand already. So yeah, I actually agree. Maybe even in a game where you want to finish first place, skipping this iron for 2 and going for this turn. Yaba reveals the foray, and I'm part of that, thanks to that turn. Already 3 rocks. Maybe I even see the sub-strength events, but we will never know. Yaba finishes the Colosseum. Nothing better to do. He didn't have this. Oh, he could have gone for iron upgrades first, but he also wants to be strongest, indicating there might be strength events, there might be colonies. Then the knight is also not that bad, to bit better for the colony, so he just waits with the iron. It's 1 turn. It's only 1 turn. He has 5 signs next turn. We see knights for 2 here by Svin. Wants to be part of that improved medieval army at some point. Very understandably so. And already has his own medieval army. Already starts building knights. Doesn't use... No, he doesn't. He doesn't interestingly use Svin even to take the printing press for free, quote unquote. Values the hand space more than taking this printing press. Thinks that's not a game where this is going to happen. Interesting. I think I would have done it. Probably. Just to enable the Shakespeare. There are some games, even in 4-player, where Shakespeare comes... just offers insane value. It's more rare than in 2-player, but it happens. And then, if it's so free, only for the hand space, he does have low hand space, only for civil actions. Yeah, maybe we can see in the future whether that would have made a difference, the hand space issue. Fourierrr upgrades a mine, upgrades another mine, upgrades a 3rd mine, and takes knights for 2. That looks very clean. He does use the extra rocks from Boudica for a 4th warrior. Yeah, the 4th warrior is a bit awkward maybe, but he can still copy a tactic now, or does have his own tactic, the Legion. So, yeah. There will be colonies maybe, and he has built this for very free with Boudica. Those warriors, rock-wise at least. Maybe you can just send or consider to send a Legion for a vast territory or something. So I reveal the developed territory, and Yaba wins it, has 2 colonization cards. And I do just finish it. I don't even need to go for the play, where I elect Da Vinci, who sadly still turns out to be a kind of dead card in my hand, but it enables Ashoka, so it's fair enough. But no alchemy drop so far. Super unlikely. There's 3 copies, not 1 dropped. Until this late in H1, it's pretty unlikely. But yeah, thanks to the Fourierrr, I can just finish the Great Wall, and I take the Richland. Yeah, very understandable. The Great Wall does make me strongest here, which might turn out to be relevant. Yaba doesn't even see it. It's super unlikely that he doesn't have any event that he wants to see it, so it indicates that there are... Oh, let's see the turn first. Yeah, there's some strongest events like Uncertain Borders or Border Conflict, which he wants to win. I would strongly assume. So he didn't see it. Or he really didn't have anything he wanted to see it. That's also an option, but super unlikely with that many cards. We see the Forbidden City for 2 civil actions from here. and EG on top of that, which means he can just finish it next turn. Yep. And then that is very nice. He does need the civil actions. The happy faces will be relevant. That's that's a nice wonder to get here for him with the EG together. Little sad maybe that he can't get the masonry on top, but yeah, can't have everything. Also didn't take the iron, by the way. So now it's also already pretty late. There's 2 copies of coal. And I do agree, the game looks kind of military heavy here. And then just getting this Forbidden City and having extra population for the military is super relevant. We see Fourierrr going for Eleanor. Yeah, not taking Columbus, indicating he doesn't have a colony in hand. Very likely disbands the warrior. Interestingly, wait, what happened? Pestilence. Okay, pestilence happened. I was like, what? Pestilence was revealed, so he had to dispense something and disbanded the warrior. 4th warrior was a little awkward anyway. Does take... That's insane. Okay, he does take the Magic Castle for 4 civil actions. Now we already have seen production. Yeah, he has 14 plus 7 rocks. He needs to spend his rocks somewhere, and in this military heavy game I can kind of understand. He can just build it next turn. He didn't have the population now to build knights, and even next turn H2 might already be coming. Then he does not have happy faces, so he can't even dump population into knights. The only real alternative I see is to go for alchemy now, which might be better, but also a little risky, to be honest. It's also a little risky. There can be a lot of raids lying around here, and he's not in a position to defend aggressions against Yaba and Svin. Realistically, he has the open borders with Yaba. So dumping all those rocks into the magic castle sounds reasonable. Just not a nice spot he is in here somehow. Just happens sometimes. I don't know, this warrior spam might turn out... Yeah. I don't want to say that it was wrong to build those warriors, but it's just right now a little sad that he only has 3 warriors. He can't really build knights that well. Tough spot, and then taking this magic castle for 4 sounds a little like desperation, but it looks correct, I think. And finally I can go for Da Vinci, but I have to actually. I swap him. I don't take alchemy here, interestingly. I prefer the iron. Yeah, I think if I remember back, my first blitz turn was to go for the alchemy, and then I thought, okay, it's so late, and it's just an extra civil action, and there's one guy already not going for the iron, and it's a bit unclear maybe if he would still go for it. And then there's 2 people competing for the coal. So in the end I thought maybe the iron is a bit safer. I might still get a copy for alchemy. There's still 3 coming, and I might still go for that. Only sad part is I can't go for it next turn because I only have 3 signs. And there might also be early scientific method, which would also be extremely good then with Da Vinci. So overall, I took the card that cost 1 civil action this year. But it's a bit unclear. Because I go to 1 plus 2 signs, and that is a little... Yeah, it's super bad. Maybe if I look at this again, I still think it's somewhat close, but maybe I should have gone with my first intuition and go for this alchemy. I don't know if the alchemy turn would mean that I can't do this. Maybe. I can't really tell now. I think I could still do it and be strongest here. Yeah. Close call. Yaba finally can upgrade an iron here. Builds another warrior. and is strongest again. He even chooses the Saladin strength to be strongest, so there's definitely uncertain borders or border conflict here. That's super likely. Strategic territory. We see Fourierrr winning that. And indeed, he does send his legion. Yeah, understandable. He wants to transition to the better tactic. Now, of course, it can be punished. Svin. Okay, it's Svin's turn, so he can rebuild now. Let's see how strong he can get. It's a good timing for this territory. Not perfect, could be H2 now, but it's a good timing for him. In the sense that he can now rebuild. And he can probably just build this castle and then go for the medieval army. Not yet. Doesn't go for it at once. Yeah, he would go to 0 plus 2 signs. If he went for knights now. Might be a little greedy. I mean, he has the castle. He can say, I have a lot of cards. And then it's an awkward spot to be in. So do I try an aggression? Thinking, okay, he probably can defend my aggression. And then I lose 2 H2 turns. And the other guy has a free go at the aggression. So I won't. And then he has the same reason. And for him, it's a little different because he doesn't have, also Fourierrr is right after him, so he might go for it. And Yaba also has the open borders, and so it's a lot more likely that it works out. That's 16 to 5. That's not defendable, I think, with 3 defense cards and castle. So yeah, let's see if he gets punished for being a bit greedy here. He bits another warrior and swaps to fighting band. Is it now possible? Yeah, now he could defend with 3 defense cards. But then again, he also sent a... Yeah, 3 defense cards are still super unlikely. He sent a legion just now. Indicating at least not excessive defense card count on his end before his turn. So maybe I should even try it. But my aggression he can definitely defend just with the castle. For this he needs 2 defense cards. Wait, is this plus 3? Yes, then he's at 11 to 16 is 5. He needs 2 defense cards, which is kind of realistic. It's not that unrealistic. So, yeah, I'm curious what we will see here. So I honestly think that it's since he's not in a position that's better than the other guys. If he was in the by far best position, then I would strongly consider punishing now and making him sacrifice, and the other guys gain something. But since he's probably not even in a very good position, I will never try this enslave just so he loses a population and the other guys have an aggression. Maybe in the quick and dirty format you can argue that it's actually somewhat okay, but I think still not. In a 3-player game actually, yeah, but in a 4-player game not. In a 3-player game you just actually need to destroy 1 person, right? So it would actually be a good call, but in a 4-player game there's 2 other persons that I need to win against, and one of them will gain a very big advantage by winning a plunder for free or an enslave for free. So yeah, enough about that. Let's see how it turns out. Knowledge of the ancients are revealed. Pretty equal for everyone. I go for the theocracy here because I don't have any other realistic option to solve the happiness issue. I could dispense something, but I don't really want that. So I just go for it. I think it's okay. It does cost all my signs, and yeah, it's not optimal. Maybe it's actually a better call to dispense something, but it's playable. It's playable. But now I really need a scientific method in a good timing in 2 turns. I will need to have it in hand. Otherwise it will be a little despair, this game. Or even this alchemy in 1 turn if it's not taken away. And then in 2 turns I can play it. We see the plunder and it goes through. And it's very good for him. And we see the timely conmon, which also means he goes to 0+2, but then again he already has his H2 government. That's the thing you need the science for the most. And then he has a little room to breathe to just go for the scientific method later. Maybe even alchemy here, no. Just waits for scientific method or journalisms. So yeah, does take the civil action now because it would mean that he got to be strongest if he took strength, and we do see the border conflict, which I am able to win with a lot of investment, but I think the investment was reasonable. Svin goes for the late monarchy, and that's something I totally agree on. I see a lot of people skipping it very late on, and he has a lot of science income. So maybe it's, you could argue you can also wait, but one of the conmons is already gone. And having a government and having no government is just such a big difference that I think even the late monarchies are very often correct. He has a lot of other projects for H2, namely all his resource income, science income. He has alchemy in hand, so that's more or less taken care of. It's also another slot for the Gutenberg activations. He can consider to build a third lab at some point. Yeah, interestingly, he lost food at some point. Now? No. When did he do that? When the pestilence happened, maybe? Yeah, destroys the farm. That's very interesting. He's just on starvation. And didn't remove the warrior, but the farm. So that is some wild decision here from rank 3 player. He's just on starvation. And I don't know, does he fix this now even? No, he decides to want to be stronger. Strength 19 now by Svin. And that means he just stays on the starvation. Well, that's some next level. So I can guarantee you I would never do this. But it's some next level reasoning maybe. I would like to hear what he has to say about it. Maybe he just wants to be in the spot to declare aggressions, or if he draws a war on Fourierrr, who is quite susceptible to that now. Vulnerable, so maybe that's the reason. Hopes that there are other relevant strength events, like the uncertain borders could still be in, but it's the only event that where he gained something from being strongest, and the crusades. So he was not in danger of being weakest here. Yeah, stays on starvation. We see, sadly, for me, the early scientific method landing on 2 with Newton, and Fourierrr gets both. So that's one less option for me for a scientific method. But it means the alchemy stays in the game, and then I think... I completely missed that until now. There's another option for science here. It doesn't enable my Da Vinci, but it's maybe still the correct call. I do have good rock income. I barely managed to get out of corruption with this and have 12 rocks and can just finish it next turn. So yeah, journalism looks pretty greedy with the way the game has been so far, and I don't have population available for that. I would love the journalism also, and if I had one more civil action, I might just take it in hand. But like this, yeah, I'm all set and go for the Harvard next turn. I agree with myself here. This looks correct. It just said he doesn't enable the Da Vinci science, but he still has this rock income, yeah. We see a rebellion, sadly. It's sad timing. This turn had to populate, or did I do that not last turn? Or no, I had to populate this turn. Oh yeah, and I do remember I considered seeding an event and was thinking about the rebellion, but then I thought, okay, is it more likely that I dodge the rebellion if I seed now, if it's in this deck? Maybe someone can tell me. Is it more likely if I am very certain that the rebellion is in this deck to seed an event so that I will dodge it? I mean, I have this 1 in 6 that it is revealed and then it is dodged. But then you have to take into account that in maybe 1 or 2 turns I can build a religion, and then it can be behind in the deck. So it's a very complicated calculation, I think. And in the end, I think the chances that I get hit by the rebellion are very similar, whether I seed or not. But I would be interested if someone wants to calculate that precisely. I think it's super complicated. Okay, but I do get hit by it. It's pretty sad because 2 civil actions mean I can only finish the wonder and not take any cards. And I will have to more or less finish the wonder. And I sadly don't have 6 signs for the architecture, and that makes my turn a lot worse. And yeah, let's see what Yaba does. He goes for the breakthrough 2 for 1 and cannons. Yeah, cannons, important. He already has the horses, so he does have the artillery tech now, and takes another urban growth and the journalism in hand. Yeah, at some point it might be possible to go for that. Doesn't upgrade his iron. Maybe wants his population to be flexible. It's what I learned from last video. Sometimes you need to dispense something. But then again, if you upgraded it and you only have to disband it 3 turns later, then it's still worth it to upgrade it. Yeah, and you don't lose rocks. But okay, he did take journalism for that. Let's see if he's able to build that at some point. It doesn't really look like a game where you are allowed to build journalism, but if you manage in such a game to build 1 journalism, or maybe even 2, and then you still manage to not be punished, then you are in a very good spot. Yeah, Svin does go for the raid, so raid 2 even. So that is probably one of the reasons that he chose to stay on starvation. I don't know if he had that already or it was his first H2 draw, but he probably had other aggressions already in hand, or even that, and then he paid the 4 culture to be able to destroy 2 buildings, which only give him 3 rocks, but it's yeah, only is relative, since that's also only his income. So it's 100% of his income, which is not that bad. Yeah, he's able to go for this raid. He can go for the architecture. Does use Gutenberg one more time and acts Nobel, which he took for 3 civil actions here. Yeah, just some extra strength, extra science income. The Nobel is super strong in a game like this, yeah. Super strong. He gives his value without having to do anything in the urban building section. Yeah, for example, Gaudi is overall a good leader, but in such games, which are quite military heavy, he won't give that much value, because you are just not allowed to build buildings. And yeah, similar for a lot of other reasons. And then Svin gives, the Nobel gives some extra strength and science income, and then it's one of the best leaders in such games. Does stay on consumption one more time, but now it would mean to spend warrior or something. And yeah, I do understand it at this position, that it feels better to leave it like this. Fourierrr goes for the upgrade, or no, he had to build one from scratch because he didn't have any philosophies left. And takes strategy for 2. Yeah, I mean, eating this aggression definitely hurt, but it's not that unplayable, because with Newton and the scientific method, he now has decent science income. He has the strategy in hand. He looks playable. It would be nice if he had the option to build another knight. But I kind of agree that this has higher priority to get the scientific method out. Yeah. I do see it and reveal the Crusades. And yeah, now it's a bit sad. I can just finish the Harvard College. I can't even take Cavalryman, and I don't have attack yet. And there's cannons for 2, which I also can take. Yeah, this rebellion did hurt. Not the end of the game, but it did hurt my position. We see Yaba winning the inhabited territory for 5, and he just has 4 H1 defense cards till an end. Yeah, he did have Sun Tzu and a lot of military actions, so that's not something too wild here that he has all those cards. And goes for the statue. Takes frugality, takes Richland 2 for 3, and over upgrading this. Then again, this last 2 civil actions would be a bit awkward if he upgraded. It takes it even over. He also has only 1 food, by the way. I just realized. Also to the pestilence, I guess. Crazy games here. Yeah, I don't know. This Richland 2 for 3 looks a little wrong, but who am I? I don't know. International trade agreement. It's sad to see. He can offer it to Svin with the probably best position here. Can offer it to Fourierrr, who is probably after the aggression the weakest position, and gain the rock per turn. No, give the rock per turn and gain the food per turn, which is 4 culture per turn right now, and can go for the coal here. Yeah, this agreement is just extra illegal. It's like extra illegal. This is so good for Svin. Yeah, it's hard to justify not accepting it in Fourier's position, because he has to hope to be second place, right? But in a game where I went for first place, I would strongly consider in his position not to accept this, giving him 1 food here. But yeah, again, it's hard to justify in a game where you just need to be second place. Yeah, this pact is extra illegal right now. Fourierrr goes for the strategy, makes him extra safe, or by now he's just strong even, with a extra knight, and can copy the better medieval army tactic. And takes team sports, republic, and selective breeding for 3. Looks very playable for him. And yeah, the rock income does something for him, so yeah. Not accepting the pact is not the real option. And uncertain borders is revealed. I'm not the weakest yet, but my strength potential is kinda capped right now. I couldn't take the cavalryman. And I do desperately want the scientific method, and I want it going, so I don't take the rifleman, which is... I have swordsmen, so riflemen are not that high of a priority, but it could still be considered, and if I had the civil action, I would probably do it. It's still a potential of 4 here, and the potential for all the H3 tactics. So I do think rifleman on top of swordsman is one of the more legitimate upgrades. Inefficient upgrades, yeah, with only 1 H difference. The open borders pact gets cancelled here. Yeah, Fourierrr is a little threatening now here. And he just also doesn't need the military action at all, and apparently had nothing better to do with his political action. We do see the regent used now on the iron. Yeah, again, it just... He had one... Yeah, it's super inefficient paying 3 civil actions for the regent. Even for one civil action, just upgrading it is just 1 rock less, if I'm not mistaken. Or with the H2 one, it's maybe 2 rocks for 1 civil action, and then it's really closer. Yeah, I don't know. Rifleman, upgrade. See the statue, 1 step, and EG for 2. Raiders revealed. I'm one of the 2 weaks. I'm even the weakest. Are there still events I have to be wary of? I think all the bad ones are out, but there's one which could be a little annoying, is the call to arms. And barbarians, I don't have the highest culture, right? We have this problem now. That's why I never press pause. Let's see. And this is also always roulette. If we land at the remotely correct, no. Where was it? Where were we? Somewhere here? We skipped Svin's turn. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to 10 now. And then we have to repeat turns. It's very sad. Uncertain Ball is also super good for Svin, obviously. Does it give him food income already? No, no. But still. Raiders revealed. And a bunch of yellow cards taken here. A lot of value. Yeah. This efficient upgrade is super good for the coal. And Fourierrr does reveal the call to arms, which takes 2 civil actions again from me on a civilization where I only have 5. That really hurts. And we see the Newton revolution, super nice. Still can go for team sports after his revolution, thanks to the Newton civil actions. On my turn, yeah, there's not that much to do here, I guess. I have the choice between Theresa and Robespierre, and I think that late in H2, Robespierre can have is a good gamble to be able to revolution to an H3 government early on, especially when you're still on an H1 government. So I choose this. I don't have good food income, and this selective breeding is on 3, and I can't take it because of the call to arms. So I do think Robespierre is a good choice here. Opera to have some option for culture income in the future, and an option to enable Marlene Dietrich. I do need a happy face solution, and I chose the opera over the organized religion because of Marlene Dietrich. I feel like organized religion might be a bit safer, but if we also look, there's no one else with an opera, and then the leader is uncontested, and I can just go for it. And the last selection should... Yeah, it's a good question now. Do I want to be safe and take the cavalryman? I also have the classical army by now. Or do I not want to have corruption? And is that even possible? Like by populating, building a warrior or something? Or upgrading this? No, I do take the corruption here. Upgrading this wouldn't solve it. And populating, building a warrior is kind of impossible. A swordsman is kind of impossible because I lose happy faces then, and if I don't after H2, and if I don't take organized religion, it's not happening. So one of the rare cases where I do have to accept corruption, I think. All thanks to this call to arms. And yeah, the 4 civil actions I lost in H2, they were extremely influential, I think. My position isn't bad. We can look at the positions closer in when the H2 ends. I would say it's not bad, but it could be a lot better, I think, if I didn't lose this 4 civil actions. Yaba finishes the statue, takes Maria Theresa, and still takes the Suez Canal, indicating he has a good H2 territory in hand, and that can make his position a lot stronger. He is a little, I mean, yeah, he's on +6 rocks. Didn't fix his food income yet, but with a good territory, I think his civilization can look very good soon. And Svin plays the probably last H2 turn, reveals the vast territory and is able to win it. Probably, no, he wins it with a knight and has 2 defense cards. Yeah, he would probably even be willing to send a pair, but didn't have to. And goes for the efficient upgrade, selective breeding, upgrades that, and by now he has no problems. Everything is taken care of in his civilization. Just has no culture income building here, but it might be not that relevant. With such a strong economy, you can go for any H3 tech that produces culture, like movies or multimedia. And he's also in a position where he might just go for a war and win like that. Especially going for second is, I think, from his position, very realistic. We can quickly compare the positions. Yeah, I do think it's all kind of close to each other. If I would have to choose, I would probably pick Sven's position and then mine, I think. I do have some problems with foods. I will definitely get this selective breeding. Fourierrr has 1 copy in hand already. So I think I'm soon able to solve my problems. Every H3 government drop will improve my position drastically, I think. I get an early democracy with this Robespierre. It's pretty good. I do have good signs, good rocks. I will have good food after my turn. I have the cavalryman for the classical army, so I'm kind of safe. Military wise, at least in the mid, in 2 or 3 turns, I will be able to get out a lot of strength. Or even now, if it has to be done, I could dispense some things and build something. So yeah, I think this position is also pretty good, but this one's a bit better with all these signs lying around, architecture already developed, and he can just go for movies and multimedia. So if he gets that early on, he's in a very good spot, I think. And then here, yeah, it's also not that far away. And depending on the colony, it's also not that far away. So everything is very open. He has a lot of civil and military actions, and not that many, but he might get a civil service or an autonomous territory. So let's see how that's going. International agreement is revealed and being used. I think it's advisable in most cases to just use it. And we see a democracy drop. Now, I'm curious whether he denies it, more or less, but probably not a good idea in a 3-player game. He doesn't have the signs to go for it himself. Already has a government, so yeah, he also takes the air forces, which he revealed. Air forces, rifleman cannon. He's also very well equipped now with the military tech. His problem is a bit his food income, and he doesn't have the best way to solve this issue without disbanding something or without getting a reserves 3, so he finally can get another population and put it into food. That is an issue in his civilization, I would say. So I did win the gamble, which is very good for me, and can just go for democracy. I do have happiness issues, and I somewhat alleviate them by building a religion, and I did have to disband a farm here, which is a bit sad. So my food income is also not that great, even although I could go for this 1 upgrade now, or even 2, but it's still not the best food income here and not the best yellow bank and population situation. Could be better. But it will kind of all be solved if I get Dietrich now and can build some operas. So the plan is there. Historic territory revealed. I can't realistically build on that. Yaba gets it for very cheap here for probably also just 1 unit. Yeah, 1 knight and 2 defense cards. I would have loved that, but I can't realistically bid on that. And we see a Suez Canal now with 4 colonies. He did have the inhabited 2. Sadly not the autonomous. I think that would have improved his position a lot more than this inhabited. But this inhabited is also, of course, good. He has a very big yellow bank now. He just has to somehow translate it to culture income now. And he did take... Now it's interesting, I think. Because he did take this navigation. And develops it. I mean, okay. There's just probably more... colonies in there, and he also has the journalism. I wanted to say maybe he has to consider just taking this multimedia because he's in a good spot to just build some multimedias now, and it would take it away from Svin, who's also in a very good spot to build multimedias. But Svin can also just build movies, I guess, and he also has journalism in his hand. But he should be looking to do that soon, because otherwise all his good yellow bank will not amount for anything if you can't translate it into some income or some military threat. Yeah, let's see how it turns out. Svin reveals the Cold War, which is very good for the Cold War guys. I remember, I think I seeded that with some hopes to win that, and it was impossible. And yeah, that's obviously very bad, giving the other guys 6 signs. Not something I would commend doing. Svin does go for the multimedia, even over the movies, develops it. Ah, yeah, I thought he had no happy faces, but he has the Forbidden Set. He just can build a multimedia, so very nice. And still go for Justice System. Now this looks somewhat scary. He's on 0+2 food now. He does have reserves for 1 more population, and I'm curious whether he spends that to create more food income or just says no, that's enough. I will just play with these guys. Urban Growth last turn. Fourierrr does take an oil here, develops it, yeah, especially with an early oil is always good, but especially with Newton, who gives some civil actions back for that. And now is on also a very scary rock income, 3+13. Takes reserves, takes another reserves. Those can all go into food. So even has enough civil actions to just take the fast food chains. Now he might also want to consider taking movies instead of those fast food chains. I dare say. He doesn't have the signs for movies next turn, which is a counter argument. Yeah, but just having no option to translate all those economy into culture income. And then yeah, this wonder is also culture, but it will give like something like 20 at the end of the game. And if you build the movies in 2 turns, 1 movie is already something like 20. Not cheaper. Yeah. Close call. I think the thing is he can't afford it science-wise. Maybe the movies. He will also very much prefer to build a multimedia, but it will be contested, I think. He's not getting multimedia for free here, and there's only 1 copy left, and it can be very far in the back. So those movies will probably not be available again for him. Sadly, Marlene Dietrich hasn't dropped, and I have to do something about my happy faces. And also a bit about my strength situation, so I go for the pro spots here. And there's also Coubertin in the deck, which is also a very good option. So I go for this arena here. Take the military theory and engineering. There's sadly no yellow cards at all in this row. I would prefer taking some yellow cards here. I'm just on 0+6. But the other guys don't look that threatening right now. So maybe it won't get punished that I don't have a realistic way to get a lot stronger here. Yaba seeds and reveals a strategic territory, giving more value to this navigation development. Wins it for just one rifleman, draws some H3 cards, it's very powerful. Rebuilds the rifleman, goes for the spaceflight and computers. Doesn't take movies. Yeah, still has journalism in hand, but again, I don't know. Yes, having an H3 wonder available is important, but this again, it will be something like 20 culture. Let it be 24 culture if he develops it builds it in the last turn, and if he builds movies next turn or maybe even this turn with this urban growth. Not entirely possible because he lacks some food, but let it be next turn, then the movies will be like 16 culture at least. It's at least 4 more turns. And he can build another movies. Then he has the cost of the wonder, 16, more or less. Without attack it's a little more expensive, but then we are talking about something like 32 culture. Yeah. So I think this is wrong. I think this is wrong. Popularization of science. It's good for Svin, but it's somewhat close. Only yaba suffers a bit on this event. And he does decide to increase his food income, does not want to play with only the amount of population he has available. And yeah, this selective breeding will still be getting him 3 or 4 extra population for the game. Takes modern infantry, still needed an infantry tech. Takes air forces and just develops air forces already. And yeah, with this multimedia, if we look again, I guess it's somewhat close, but yeah, I would choose his civilization any day. He has just everything here. He's looking to win this very clearly, I think. And then it's between the rest of us for second place. Civil unrest has been revealed, which does nothing. Gladly. It's also one of the reasons I think I never wanted to seed anything, because I was smelling these happy face H2 events, which would have been very devastating for me. And it was a very good timing with this pro sports. I had several awards, the 2 pro sports and 1 Marlene Dietrich. I could have also gone for operas. And we see Fourierrr also building a little more food income. Same reasoning. And taking Einstein. Thanks. Yeah, now he has a lot of rocks and he has no... He could build a scientific method, but he could also have built movies, maybe. Next turn. Yeah. Yeah, next turn. Not this turn, but... Yeah. Politics of Strength has been revealed. I'm the weakest player. That event hurts. And I can sadly not time it with another revolution. I already did that. I don't think it's very reasonable to switch to anything else now. I just go for the engineering. Upgrade my science income a little and take rockets in hand. Now I also have most tactic options. H3 tactic options. Or actually all tactic options, but lack the modern infantry. But I can go for... I think, what did I draw here? That's the modern army or the positional? I can't see it like that. We have 2 look like this. Ah, it's a modern army, yeah. The, what are they called? Fernglas. I have no idea. Magnifying glass. I guess that. No, it's not the right word. Magnifying glass is something else. I don't know my English. It's not good enough. Where was I? Most tactic options. I can just go for it in the bad form here. 7 strength, also good enough. I think with the Great Wall, I'm looking kind of safe. I'm not that afraid, and they also all don't play in a way where they are screaming military all in. This game has transitioned to a more economy fest, and now it was all about enabling that economy, and I think Fourierrr and Yaba missed out on the relevant text for that. So I'm kind of happy for that with the situation. I can still go for operas, and also Coubertin dropped, and no one else, I think. Yeah, Fourier already has Einstein. I think no one else is in the position to go for Coubertin, so I will just get it for free, I think. We see computers being built, the irrigation upgrade, and he does have a really good science income now, but I think there's no leader that synergizes at all with labs. So there's Marie Curie, which would be a good option for him, but sadly no Sid Meier, which could be a win condition, or Bill Gates. I think Sid Meier would be better in that position. Freedom of movement is revealed. And we see a communism, peaceful communism, organized religion, Mandela, rockets, yeah, and the numbers go brrr. Every number is very high. He's in a very good spot to win the Nobel Prizes and did start with it this turn. It's a very good spot to win all the impacts. So yeah, he's in the winning position. And between the rest of us, it's kind of close, but they all don't have those tags. Fourier gets the multimedia now, which is super good. It was contested, and he did get it. Now he can finally translate his super good economy into some culture income. And I can do it in a very cheap way, thanks to the engineering. These arenas just cost 4 rocks, give 4 strength, and to culture pattern. This Coubertin comes in a good time. I think it would be very close for second place, or it's still very close for second place, and I wouldn't be in the best position to compete for it if not for this Coubertin in this situation with the engineering, with the 4 pro spots. It also makes me strong. It creates so much strength. It actually creates some pressure on them. I have a military theory in hand. I could declare a very cheap war if they are very greedy. So if I had one, I take some more yellow cards and develop the opera. I think I might be afraid that this opera is gone until next turn. It's 12 cards, and it's not that unreasonable to assume that it will not be in my hand next turn. I did consider playing the classical army still and developing cavalryman, but overall I thought this is unnecessary. And yeah, the age will probably not end before Yaba's turn, yeah, but until it's my turn again, it will. So war, if I had drawn one, would have still possibly been an option, but I didn't draw one. Yaba does go for a good way, actually. I a bit overlooked that to create some culture with a lab leader, and that's Steve Jobs. And he can make very good use of him now. We see the international tourism. It's always so happy to see other people offering packs to each other, like international tourism. Makes my heart jump in happiness. Another multimedia, there's no more wonder options, so he just goes for Manhattan Project, which also makes him very safe against any admittedly not that realistic war options, but maybe there are some small aggressive options, and then it's extra good to have this Manhattan project. We see military lines. Yeah, some more stuff. Interestingly, no, not one more multimedia. And wait, oh, not certain what happened here, but I think he might have missed the fact that he can't build his wonder like that. That is very quick and dirty. That's a little too quick and dirty. Just can't. He just doesn't have the rocks to build his wonder. Yeah, I guess that was just an oversight. Or does he build one step? No. Just an oversight, I assume. Oh well. Impact of industry revealed. It's already good for Fourierrr. And here I decide that this game screams like impact of science. Everyone has a lot of science, so I just go for a lot of computers, which is also better for impact of architecture, which is in there. I think I put it in there, and I only had one population available for the opera anyway, so this turn 1 and the second one 2, it would amount to maybe 9 culture by doing that, and just upgrading these is already good for architecture, a little better than those 2 operas, or a lot better. So like 4 extra, so it's already close. And then if we assume science in there, which I can win like this, then this is the correct call. We see an economic progress. Okay, then he had Fourierrr had no knowledge about this economic progress, so I take everything back. No oversight there. Can still build his fast food chains. And those last turns, just not that much happens. Everyone tries to maximize that. There were no war options. Everyone tries to maximize their culture income. And for him, a little sadly, if he had movies in it, or I think for him too, if he had those movies, I think they would be in, their positions would be a lot better. And like this, we see this all very close. Even Svin, he doesn't build the best wonder. This is all very close. I even have somewhat of a lead here because of the Olympic Games and just the good culture income by Kubota. I have a small lead, but my impacts aren't that great, and I still think Svin is in the better position to win the game. And we see, I mean, it is a 16 culture wonder with this civilization, so the other wonders aren't that much better. And here we see impact of architecture being revealed. It's a bit sad that it's before my turn, not after my turn, after his turn, so it makes some difference. And Fourierrr builds 2 multimedias instead of building the wonder, which clearly indicates impact of science. So he has done the calculations and comes to the conclusion, going from possibly even only build 2, right? Yeah, if he just builds the wonder, he can't build another multimedia. Then he goes from last position to possibly first position for this impact of science. And even if it was for second position, it should be worthwhile with the multimedia income plus the swing. I sadly have no impact, so I try that aggression. It's not impossible, it's very unlikely. It didn't happen. And I go for another lab to make certain that I win impact of science, military theory. And we see the space flight for 29 culture, so my estimate was a bit off. And still I think taking this movies there would be a bit better. Maybe you can even do both somehow. Okay, let's see. Before the impacts, or now after the first impact, the standings are like this. It is in the realm of possibilities for everyone to win the game. And yeah, let's just see. It's actually pretty close. This impact of culture already gave Svin 15 culture, so before this impact it was even closer. Impact of progress, very good for Svin, 22, Yaba only 14. I managed to get 20 points with that. Fourierrr, interesting with Newton and into Einstein, he only scores 10 culture with this. And impact of science indeed, which brings me pretty close to Svin actually. I think the problem is that I don't have the best civilization for most other impacts. But we will see. It's not impossible, I would say, to win this. Impact of variety should be quite... No, okay, it's not even close. I don't have good variety. It's +6 for Svin. And here even I lose on Yaba. This is also still in the realm of being possibilities to end up third. Here, fourth. By now, only 2 impacts left. I think Fourierrr won't really have a realistic chance to overcome me, but between Yaba and me, and even Svin and me, it's still possible. Impact of harmony. Again, better for Svin, but interestingly a bit better for me than for Yaba, who had infinite yellow cubes, but somehow didn't get enough of them out. Or, I mean, in the end also the military played no role anymore, so he had not the biggest incentive to build more units. And with that, 1 impact left. And in the background we see here, impact of tech could be very bad for me, I think. It is not impact of tech, it's impact of happiness. 16, 16, 14. And that seals the deal. I managed to end up second place. It was a little closer than maybe I thought it would be. And I think that's all thanks to this, 2 things. The Robespierre Revolution and into the democracy, first turn H3. It's just illegal, as I like to say. And the Coubertin drop in that moment, where I could also with the engineering just build 3 of those pro spots, was also extremely good for me. My civilization is not that well prepared for a lot of impacts. Yeah, but I think even the impact of tech wouldn't. It's actually a good impact of tech. It's also not that bad. I don't know, I don't have the best economy, and somehow I made do. I somehow built that with just irons. And not even the best access to yellow cards, I think. I think this engineering worked extremely well, and these are just too cost efficient with the engineering. For 4 rocks, this is insanity. Yeah. And as I mentioned, I think these 2 guys had to take those movies, and I think they just win if they take those movies. Okay, in hindsight it's always easy to say, and maybe it isn't even true what I'm saying. That's also always possible, but my gut feeling says their position would be better with those movies. Alright, this was game 2. That means I proceed to the next stage. I think whether you end first or second makes a difference for seeding purposes. And I'm not entirely certain. I think next game is a one-on-one, but we will see that. Alright, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.